Me. You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Yo, what's poppin', friends? How are you doing? How are you doing? Good, I hope. Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. Welcome back to Chelsea News. Today, we are discussing the phenom that is Estevao Willian, the 17-year-old Brazilian who's going to be turning up at Chelsea in a matter of weeks now, alongside Kendry Páez, who's already arrived, Mike Penders, and of course the well-anticipated return of Andre Santos from Strasbourg as well. Of course, another player coming out from Strasbourg could be Georgi Petrovic. He could be our goalkeeper going into next season. That's, of course, a topic we've been discussing of late. And Calcio Mercato journalist Daniel Longo has been speaking about Rafael Leao to Chelsea, which is a player we've looked at before. I'm not entirely sure this guy is the answer to our problems, even though he'd be very, very exciting. He's a Galactico winger. Of course, Jorge Mendes, funnily enough, heavily involved. Chelsea always heavily involved with deals with Milan. And of course, Joao Felix's future, also Jorge Mendes client, hangs in the balance. So we're going to talk about all of it today. Thanks, as always, for joining me. Strap yourselves in, get comfortable. If you want to support the content, easy, drop a like on the video, mate. And you're welcome to subscribe, should you want to. Hit the bell if you choose to. Let's get into it. Alright, where to start? Let's start off with Estevao Willian, because boy, oh boy, he's scoring absolute worldies every single week. This 17-year-old kid who we signed when he was 16 to arrive when he was 18, in a matter of weeks now. I mean, when does he turn 18? Because April, 24th of April, so ready for next season, basically. Chelsea first team. I mean, if we send this kid to Strasbourg, maybe their defense will be high. He hasn't played in Europe yet, but he looks absolutely incredible. From Data Football, a 17-year-old future Chelsea player, Estevao Willian, has just hit 30 goals and assists. The last Brazilian player to do that before turning 18 was none other than, that's right, Neymar Jr. in 2010. And indeed, Estevao was breaking the records of Neymar out in Brazil. So he played a game against São Bernardo yesterday. Excuse my pronunciation if that is incorrect. Scored an absolute worldie. Took the ball inside, hit the ball when he had no space, no right to take a shot on really, and met it with such immense power that it hit postage stamp in through the crossbar. I mean, it was an absolute worldie, and he scored 2 goals in that game. The weekend before, he's doing a Messi because he's doing those kind of goals, but he also, they call him Messinho, don't they? But also he does these goals where he just dribbles for everyone and then knocks it home or taps it in. But yesterday in that game, in terms of FOTMod statistics, he scored 2 goals. He had 4 shots, all of which were on target. My guy doesn't miss. 2 key passes, which is a very strong creative return as well. He completed 6 dribbles, which was most in the match. And by the way, this isn't a 17-year-old playing under 18's football. This isn't a 17-year-old playing under 21's football. This is a 17-year-old playing men's football. Just absolutely tearing it up. So 6 dribbles, most in the games. A couple of accurate crosses. He won 10 duels, which was the most in the game. A child among men, destroying the men. 10 duels. He made 3 recoveries and earned himself a 9.3 FOTMob rating. A man of the match performance from young Estevao Willian, who can't wait to get to Chelsea. He wants to be the best Brazilian player to ever play in the Premier League. For ages ago, he was doing the Cole Palmer celebrations, chatting to him on social media. It's very difficult not to get super excited about this kid. I mean, obviously Maresca's got to be very careful with him. He's very young, but to other teams' credit, to Arsenal's credit with Mikel Arteta putting in with Nwaneri and Lewis Skelly, maybe probably relying on them too much. Where, I don't think we're going to sell Noni Madueke, probably. I mean, we could do. A lot of people on X, social media, suggesting that Chelsea will maybe look to sell Noni to like a Newcastle United, make a profit on him, and look to, integrate other players that they think can reach higher ceilings. And we have to believe that their truth is authentic. That they will say it's their truth, that if you are really, really, really good, then you will be in the Chelsea first team. If you're quite good, we might still sell you, sort of thing. Or if we think you're very good but you don't fit the system, we'll still sell you. Yeah, which they've sort of demonstrated. But so they obviously players like they thought have got a massively high ceiling, like Levi Colwill hasn't been great lately, but people inside the game think he's got an insanely high ceiling. That's why Klopp wanted to drop the bag on him and bring him to Liverpool to be the long-term successor to Van Dijk. Of course, Cole Palmer, yada yada yada, and they are still really, really high on Nicholas Jackson, the people inside Chelsea. So you'd have to think they're bringing in Estevao, Willian, and like this guy is going to be their Chelsea. And again, you got to look at it from a cynical point of view that would still benefit us as Chelsea fans. A cynical point of view through their eyes of this guy's a Brazil. He is the darling of Brazil. This young kid. He is like the one. You could talk about Endrick, of course, the striker at Real Madrid, but he just plays token minutes in the cups, and he didn't score for ages, and it's so hard to muscle in. Estevao could run the show at Chelsea with Palmer, so he is like the darling of Brazil in that sense. Everyone's very, very excited with him, and the cynical view would be the Chelsea owners going, right, well, there's our market in South America. There's Brazil cracked, through whatever capitalist money-making brand awareness lens you want to look through. They'll be like, that's our guy, we're going to keep him, we're going to capture that market, we'll go whatever, and they hopefully won't want to lose that. So the likes of Noni Madueke will be thinking, oh god, but come and take my place, let's go at it. It is very, very exciting. And similarly, the returning Andre Santos coming back, he's been seen as the best young midfielder in France. Again, he's got to be 20 now, tops, Andre Santos. And he is like, he's 20. So he turned 20. He'll turn 20. He'll be 21 by the time the next season starts. So he'll be like seasoned and good to 21. He'll be old, mate. But he'll be like seasoned in. He arrived and he was, 18? Tops at Chelsea. And he's had like 6 months loan in the Premier League. He's had a really good 6 months in Liga, and then then this season has been excellent. So he's ready for European football, Andre Santos. He is ready for the Chelsea first team. Now, he'll be looking at, not necessarily Caicedo and Fernandes, but he'll be looking at the likes of Romeo Lavia and be like, you better be worried, mate. You think, you'll be rotating with those two guys, or there'll be certain games you start with them? Nah, mate, that's going to be me. Do you know what I mean? Or even like Fernandes, who I think is a really important leader in the Chelsea 11. He might look at him and go, I score goals all the time, mate. I'm going to come and start for Chelsea. So even without doing business, the return of Santos and, the introduction of Estevao and, Paez is already in London. We don't really know what to expect from him. There's a good chance Kendry Paez, actually, in my opinion, might go to Strasbourg. But these are all players and, dare I say the yucky word, assets that are joining the club. And, that will help us. We got a young superstar. We got really good midfield depth. We still need to buy a striker. I'm sorry. I will say to the cows come home, we need to buy a goalkeeper. But, at the very least, Georgi Petrovic starts. Who knows? Maybe Mike Penders arrives. He is this sort of like superstar that everyone says he is. And 6 months into the season, he benches whoever's Chelsea's attempting number one, and Penders begins a 15-year dynasty as Chelsea's first choice goalkeeper. I'm here for it, but is it going to happen? I'm not so sure. But yeah, and of course we'll follow all the transfer stories as they develop here on the channel. One of which being Calcio Mercato talking about Rafael Leao. So this is coming from Longo. I saw Cy Phillips share this on his X account. He seems to think it's reputable to a degree in terms when it comes to Milan stories, so I will react to it here. Rafael Leao's season so far has not been one to tell your grandchildren about. I'm assuming this is a translated article, guys, on Calcio Mercato, so if it sounds a bit peculiar, you have been warned. A few pieces of skill here and there, but above all, many benches. Never so many since he wore the Milan jersey. a sign of how the relationship is less strong and stable than in the recent past. And who knows if other interlocutors can insert themselves in these small cracks in the coming months. Chelsea comes out. The Rossoneri talent's numbers remain good. So he's got 10 goals and 7 assists across all competitions. For a winger that's not having his best time, it's pretty strong. But perhaps not enough to justify the value of his 175 million euro release clause. Oh, didn't mean to put that widget up. Obviously not. Rafa can do more, according to Ibrahimovic. He's one of the strongest players in the world. Chelsea is also convinced of this and has started the first surveys with people very close to the Portuguese ace. Here's the situation, guys. So writeth Daniele Longo. The situation, Joao Felix will most likely return to Chelsea at the end of the season. Yeah. It remains to be seen whether Jorge Mendes will be able to get both clubs to agree to sell Leao. At the moment, it's an embryonic discussion, but one to keep an eye on. London could call a Leao who is less unsellable than usual than Milan. Basically, he's more sellable than usual. Basically, as well, you'd have to say, I mean, if Joao Felix went there and did really well and like popped off or did quite well, maybe there could be a deal where both players go either direction, where we sell, them Joao Felix for the value of 50 million euros plus an extra 40 million cash on top for Rafael Leao, maybe. Maybe that could happen. I know genuinely Chelsea have looked at Leao for a long, long time. Here's what I think. Let me break it down. I think Rafael Leao would be excellent in the Premier League. Yeah, I think he would. I'll tell you why. Because he's big, he's strong, he's fast. So he wouldn't mind with the space. There's a lot of high value opportunity in terms of goal productivity in transition in the Prem. Everyone thinks that's like Bundesliga only, but it's not. You can get a lot of goals in the Prem through that. And I'm talking like, promoted teams and Liverpool, top of the table. So it doesn't matter who you are. And arguably, our first half of the season when we played well, we were playing transitional football. Cole Palmer was releasing runners, and Nico Jackson was doing well, etc. And then we started playing Maresca. Liam Twomey did an article on it on the Athletic that actually the more Maresca ball we're playing, the worse we're getting. And even when we were winning all these games, and this is the worrying thing about Maresca, because even when we were winning all those games, he was like, I don't like this. This isn't how I want to play. We're playing like counter-attacking football. And so there was an argument to be made that maybe he won't be a good fit in that sense. But I think he'll be, because he's really like, he's a little bit like, for me, like a sort of Galactico Noni Madueke. They're both quite big for wingers. I think Rafa's bigger, but he's got a sort of like, he gives kind of striker who's been put out wide. I think, and he's got superstar quality. I don't think he's ever had like prolific numbers. I'm just going to quickly look at his history now. So last season was the 23-24 season. 9 goals, 9 assists in the league. Not awful. That's 18 goal involvements from the wing. The season before that in the league, really freaking strong. He scored 15 goals and registered 8 assists, which is, of course, 23 goal involvements from the wing in 2,400 minutes. That is an elite return as a winger, especially the kind of winger that's not like, designed to finish your chances, like, for example, a Mohamed Salah. Salah can, like, whinge about Haaland all he wants, going, he's a striker, I'm a winger. But Salah, the whole game is set up for him to finish chances. Salah can rest and not defend in certain instances, and everything goes through him. He goes inside, and the game's set up to make Salah finish, as it should be, because he's elite and he's like in the the hottest streak of his life. But it's not the case with Rafael Leao. He's the whole game doesn't necessarily go through him. He's been a bit more of a moments guy. But last season was good. The season before that was great. This season is a bit meh. So he's got 6 goals and 5 assists in the league. 11 goal involvements, double digits in 1,600 minutes. It's still good, but it's obviously, and he's still got 4 man of the matches as well. But it's in the league alone. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel like great. But the thing is, he's 25 years old, so he's got he's entering his prime. Would he? Would he come to Chelsea? Would we pay his wages if we got in the Champions League? He'd obviously be getting the first year. He'll be getting Champions League level wages because, of course, all the Chelsea contracts are linked to being in the Champions League and stuff. It would be very hard not to get excited about signing Rafael Leao and seeing him in a Chelsea shirt. Like, let's be real. To have a front four of even like dropping, like, I always think Sancho could start for Chelsea, but I always think for 25 million that we bought him for, he's just a really good rotational option if he works hard. For that money, it's a no-brainer, isn't it? But if you've got Estevao on the right and, Rafael Leao on the left and Palmer in behind and pick your striker, is it Nico Jackson, is it a new one? Maybe, who knows, if Neto keeps scoring as a false nine for the rest of the season, maybe we just Neto's a striker, who knows? Look, I would really like it, provided in the knowledge that it was a workable deal, it wasn't silly money, and he's on agreeable wages. I know a lot of Chelsea fans are calling for Chelsea to break the wage structure for superstars. Unless it's like an Isak or something, a guaranteed goal scorer, I don't want to break the wage structure for a winger that might run cold, basically. I don't want to risk upsetting the dressing room for a guy who might just go quiet. So that's my personal opinion on it. Right. Let me know yours. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you, as always, for joining me. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Hope to see you back here soon. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the football. Peace.